So, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered just released, and you're wondering, is it worth it? Should I pick it up? Well, hopefully I can help you out. My name's Gavin Vengeance, and here's what you need to know before you pick up Final Fantasy VIII Remastered.
Maybe I'm a lion.
Seeing as how Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is indeed a remastered version of Final Fantasy VIII, the first question you have to ask yourself is, did you enjoy the original? Because if you did not enjoy the original, it's very unlikely that you will enjoy the remaster. The remaster is essentially the same game, it just has a few minor changes, but if you didn't enjoy it, then you're probably not going to enjoy this one. However, if you did enjoy the original Final Fantasy VIII, then you're in luck. It's the exact same game. If you didn't play Final Fantasy VIII, on the other hand, well, there's a series of questions you kind of have to ask yourself. First of which being, do you mind reading dialogue because there are no voiceovers, considering this was a JRPG that came out in the 1990s? A lot of them at that time just were really text heavy and had a lot of dialogue for you to read through. And if story's important to you, then you're going to be doing a lot of reading in this game. However, if you don't like story, or if you don't care about story, or if you don't want to read anything, then I'm sorry, you're kind of out of luck for this one. Again, like I said, there's a lot of text for you to read through, and a lot of dialogue between the characters, and a lot of pertinent information to quests and everything that the NPCs will give you through text. Also, seeing as how this is a Final Fantasy game, there are a lot of themes to do with romance and obviously fantasy. So if you're not a fan of any kind of romance stories or any fantasy material, then again, it's probably not your cup of tea. But it does have a fantastic story for people that do love a love story or romance or anything that has a little bit of comic relief in it. There's a little bit for pretty much every audience with this game. Another big point to take into account as well is that there are a few other detractors for some people, like the common anime trope of having your main character be a student of some sort at an academy. So there is a little bit of that as well, which I know does kind of deter people from picking up Final Fantasy VIII or really getting into it. I find that this is something very minor, and again, it's just something that's particular to certain people. And in saying that, you're only really in the academy setting at a couple times throughout the story. For the most part, you're actually visiting a variety of different locales, and they're very diverse from one another. A lot of the areas are fantastic, and you must see them. But let's look at the other side of it and say, hey, maybe you're returning to Final Fantasy VIII because you never really got a chance to beat it initially, and you just would like to revisit the game, and you're probably wondering to yourself, what's changed? Well, first and foremost, the main thing that you're going to notice is that the character models have been upscaled in a HD resolution. You can actually pick out their facial features, and it doesn't just look like a pixelated mess anymore. That doesn't only go for the characters, however, it also goes for the monsters, the summons, battle effects, and even the UI has been completely redone to make it a lot more pleasing to the eye. However, things like environments and FMVs largely remain untouched. The world maps also, I've noticed, were still a little bit pixelated and kind of remind me of the PlayStation 1 era, so I'm not quite sure if those have been updated, and if they have been, it's extremely subtle. And like the previous HD remasters, there are also cheats available for you to enhance your experience. Just say if you want to speed through the game, there's a 3x speed boost that you can activate, there's a battle assist cheat, and there's also another cheat that you can use to disable encounters altogether. So as I've stated, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is exactly the same game that it always was, and you may be wondering why I picked it up again. So the reason I bought Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is because I absolutely love the story of Final Fantasy VIII, I love the world of Final Fantasy VIII. Each and every one of the characters that you meet are very diverse, very unique, and they all have fantastic personalities, as well as all of the mini-games such as Triple Triad, which happens to be one of my favorite card games of all times. I absolutely love it. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing, with each and every track fitting the situation or the scenario in the game. It's one of the best soundtracks in Final Fantasy history, and is also one of the best-selling soundtracks for Final Fantasy of all time. And also because Square Enix has added trophy support for Final Fantasy VIII Remastered as well, so it gives me a little checklist of things to try and accomplish. And now with the game being available on a host of different platforms, including the Nintendo Switch, the game is more portable than ever, so you can take it with you wherever you go. So with all of this in mind, I hope that this helps you decide whether or not you want to pick up Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, or whether you're just going to hold off. And if there's anything else that you think I may have missed, leave a comment in the comments below to let everybody else know. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and if you found any of this helpful, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more Final Fantasy related content, please remember to subscribe and click that bell icon. Thanks again guys, take care.